Welcome to our Foundational Reading Intervention training module for Level D regular lessons. For regular lessons, our focus goal is to increase student accuracy. Several key strategies are direct explanation of what the student is to be learning, modeling by providing examples or non-examples, demonstrations, think-alouds, and immediate corrective feedback. Here's our first activity. Following the directions, I say the word and he'll echo, and then we say the word and then just he'll say the word. Before.
Before.
Again.
Before.
And
before.
Okay. Then he's going to copy the word here. If he makes any mistakes, I'm going to provide support. Then we move on to the next word and he'll copy. Now, I say the words, we say the words, you say the words. Before, because, oil, maybe.
Before, because, oil, maybe. Before, because, oil, maybe.
And here we have our sound introduction. J.
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 J. J.
Great. So that was I say the sound, you say the sound with an echo, and then we say the sound, you say the sound. And you move on to the second sound. Sometimes there will be additional sounds. Now down here, you say the sounds of the word, and then you say the word.
J, bridge. J, fudge.
And you keep going down the column, and then do the same steps for the next column. Over here, he's going to say the sounds as he traces the sound with the writing utensil.
J, bridge.
Great. And these words are just coming from over here. Usually it's the first two or the first one. For this activity, we have the first two from this column and the first one from this column. In later lessons, it might switch where it's the first one and then the first two, depending on the column or lesson. Here we have, again, our sounds that we're introducing. You'll see here that we have the specific sound that we want the student to be learning underneath. This is just because some of the sound patterns are getting a little bit more complex, or they're focusing on less common sounds. So here we have the sound that we want the student to say. So here it's going to be, I say the sound with an echo, s, 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 and then we keep going across. And again, we're teaching the students the sounds connected to specific spelling patterns. Here, again, we're saying the sound with an echo, and then we say the sound, and then just the student will say the sound. You do that for each one of the sounds. The specific sound is below the pattern. And because we're getting to more inconsistent spellings with more advanced words, we have new directions here. So I'm going to say the word treasure. Then the student will underline the above spelling pattern that they've been practicing. So treasure has the zh sound, and so the student will underline the s and u. Then they'll say the word. What's the word?
Treasure.
Great. And then we move on to the next word. I'll say pleasure. They'll underline the
su.
Okay. And then they'll say the word.
Pleasure.
Great. So again, I say the word, the student will underline the above spelling pattern and say the word, and we keep doing that for the entire column, and then move on to the next column and the next column. If there's any need to correct the words, so I'm going to say the word, and then the student will echo the word. If there's the specific error to the spelling pattern, go ahead and correct that as well. Then we move on to the spelling part. So I'm going to say the word treasure. You say the word
treasure.
Okay. And the underlined part is
Zh.
Great. So the S is the part that says zh, and then we have the treasure. Okay. If the student makes an error, erase, and then have the student say the word, and trace the word with any additional support. Now we're on to our high frequency words. I'm going to say the word and the student will echo. We say the word and then they'll say the word. Million.
Million.
Again.
Million. Million.
Okay. And if there's need for error correction, I say the word, the student will echo, and then they're going to trace by saying the letter name and tracing the letter as they spell the word. And then they'll say the word at the end. So go ahead and spell this.
Million.
And say the word.
Million.
Great. Then you do that same thing for the next word with the trace. And now we're to incremental rehearsal. So go ahead and do this one.
Million. Million before. Million before oil. Million before oil brought.
What's that word? Bought.
Bought.
Okay. So then he's going to do the echo. We're going to go back and make sure that we have that down.
Million before oil bought.
Great. And you keep going back and extending out the practice. So you keep going one word further out with that incremental rehearsal. When you get done with the row, then you move on to the next row. Here we have our weekly review. So I'm going to say the words, we say the words, and then you say the words. Rec, knock, thumb, right, knelt.
Rec, knock,
thumb, right, knelt.
Rec, knock, thumb, right, knelt.
Okay. If there's any error correction, I'm going to say the word, and the student will echo, and then repeat the column to just get that more fluent practice with the review. Do that for each one of the columns, and you're ready to move on. Here we have our reading fluency. Our print concepts that we're just continuing on is really the finger tracking, just making sure that the students can follow the words. And the fluency directions are, I read a sentence, we read a sentence, you read a sentence. So let's go ahead and do that for the first one. I'll read it first. Before the hen woke up, the fox snuck to the farm. Before the hen woke up, the fox snuck to the farm.
Before the hen woke up, the fox snuck to the farm.
And you keep doing that for each of the sentences that make up the paragraph. And then you're going to have the student read the paragraph. And then you're ready to do the sentences and the paragraph, the sentences and the paragraph for the remaining portion of the story. And then you're going to have the student read the whole story with the time criteria of reading it under 2 minutes with 3 or fewer errors. Be careful to watch out for that that reading criteria as it changes later on. All right, the reading fluency directions do change. In the previous example, the error correction was to provide the student with the word and have them repeat the sentence. In set 4, the error correction does change to tap the incorrect word and have the student, or you talking to the student, you correct the error. So you want the student to try a correction strategy to correct their own error. You're going to do this with support as it's needed. So if they really don't know the word, provide them the word or help them to use a strategy to decode the word, and then have them repeat the sentence and move on. The time criteria does change. I think it might be set 4 for level D, and we're going to have the student read the story under 2 minutes with 4 or fewer errors. Just look for the new indicator for that criteria change. Now we're on to our high frequency words, in which we have the students reviewing the words from the previous level. So for the previous level review, we can just have the students read the words. So let's go ahead and read those words.
Let's 6 hot family father.
Great, and you do that for the next column and the next column, all the way through all the table. And if the student does need additional practice, let's say they struggled through level C, and now we're on level D, and they just don't have these words down, You can go through an I do, we do, you do, in which I'll read the words, we read the words, and then just you read the words. And do that for each of the words. And as they get more proficient, you can start shifting over where just you read the words. Error correction is I say the word and the student echoes and repeats the entire box until they're fluent. Note some of the additional kind of hints for reading the words correctly. So here, when you get to the word red, make sure we're pronouncing that as red, not read, just because the red is the more irregular version of that word, so that's what gets emphasized in these practices. Now we're on to our additional R controlled. The directions are I say the word, we say the word, you say the word. Shore, war, soar, board, gourd. Shore, war, soar, board, gourd.
Shore, war, soar, board, gourd.
Great. And if he makes a mistake, I say the word and have them echo, and then he'll repeat the entire column. With the 2-syllable, there is a sheet in the reading lesson folder that breaks up the syllables based off of written syllable patterns. Here I'm going to say the syllables of a word, and you echo, then we say the word, and then you say the word. So we're going to say notebook.
Notebook.
I'm going to say the word notebook.
No.
And then you say the word?
Notebook.
Yep. And then we do it for the next one. And the next one, next one, next one. And then we go back up top. And now you say the words in the column.
Notebook, toadstool, teaspoon, elbow, sparkle.
Great. And if he makes a mistake, I'm going to say the word and have him echo and repeat the entire column. So the directions here are for our inflected endings is I say the words, we say the words, you say the words. Beaten, eaten, frozen, hidden, woken. Beaten, eaten, frozen, hidden, woken.
Beaten, eaten, frozen, hidden, woken.
And if he makes a mistake, I'm going to say the word and have him echo and repeat the entire column. And you just move on through the remainder. Now we are coming to our prefixes, or really any of the affixes that we're going to be practicing. So I'm going to say the affix and the meaning, so we're going to say un, and that means not or opposite. And then we go through, I say the words, we say the words, you say the words, unable, unclean, unlike, untie, unwrap. Unable, unclean, unlike, untie, unwrap.
Unable, unclean, unlike, untie, unwrap.
And we do the same thing for the next column. If there were any mistakes, I say the word with an echo,